protections other than whatever the players could enforce, and many were eager to establish themselves in this new and vast frontier, rich in the most valuable resources. But holding on to these regions would require work and coordination, and so the corporations that had organized before the release of the game began to establish themselves in particular regions of space that they found enticing. The factors involved in these choices varied from proximity to Empire space to what resources were available. First, though, the corporations would require ships, and to buy and equip these ships, they would need resources
Fucking zoo.
and money. All the EVE developers wanted to provide a world where the trade of goods was managed almost entirely by players. They realized that in the early stages of the game, no player economy would be established yet, and so they allowed non-player characters to buy and sell some of these commodities in order to stimulate the player economy. This provided an early revenue stream to players, who quickly devised a plan to make significant amounts of capital during this crucial early stage. This plan was based around the daily server downtime, which occurred at 11 a.m. UTC. Andrew Groen detailed what he called the merchant races in his seminal work on the history of New Eden named Empires of Eve. Quote, "Back in the earliest days of Eve, one of the best ways to make money was by buying and selling commodities in different markets across the game. Later, Eve would place all of its emphasis on a player-controlled market, but in the early days, players could buy items and wares from characters in stations all over the game and then sell them elsewhere. What resulted was a daily series of early morning races along the most profitable trade routes. Merchants would log in as quickly as possible after the server came back online from the daily maintenance shutdown and fly down the trade routes to the most profitable destinations." End quote. Trading was far from the only profession that players were looking to exploit. The factories required to build ships in EVE were a limited resource, and so, upon the release of the game, players scrambled to buy these factories as quickly as possible. However, there was an issue. Due to its worldwide release, players in the UK were able to purchase the physical copies of the game before anyone else, and therefore they could buy the factories much earlier than anywhere in the world. These buyers were more than just hopeful industrialists. Many of the factories had been purchased by real estate speculators, hoping to sell these factories for a higher price with no intention of constructing ships. According to early player Ramin Shahrazad, quote, "Within days of the retail launch, all factories had been bought up and idled by speculators, who were charging $300 to $400 per factory, without any way of knowing if they really owned the factory or not." End quote. If speculators were idling the factories, then that meant fewer ships, restricting players from accessing the core mechanics of the game. This illustrated two challenges that the developers of EVE now faced: managing a complicated economy to keep the game fun and interesting, and struggling against the black market. Black market economies for MMOs like EVE are not only common, but inevitable. While developers typically will include clauses in their terms of service that stipulate against it, players are usually undeterred from trading in-game assets for real-world currency, and the consequences for doing so only tend to involve an easily circumvented ban, which is only implemented if they're caught. And so, many of the factories intended to fabricate ships for players remained dormant upon the release of the game. But this was far from the only problem that new players faced. Those who purchased EVE Online with little foreknowledge were met with a game full of promise, yet strangely empty. Played primarily through various menus, it was difficult for new players to decipher what their next steps would be. What's more, the game world was almost preposterously massive, especially for the time, and players were spread thinly across New Eden. But according to Hilmar Pedersen in an interview for Down the Rabbit Hole, this was in part by design. Quote, "EVE is about people sailing into the starry night in ships. That's sort of the inception story of Iceland. Vikings escaping taxation from Norway and hoping that there's a new land somewhere. You can just imagine being on a quiet ocean in the night, looking at the night sky, sailing on a Viking ship. Eve definitely has those kinds of feelings. You can look up and see the Milky Way, and so the inception of the game and the country are not far apart. Iceland is this place that really wants to kill you. You get the very distinct feeling of that when you're a child growing up there. There's volcanoes, there's lava, there are earthquakes, there are freezing gale winds unpredictably any month of the year. It's a very hostile environment. Eve is like that. It has the toughest environment, but to some extent, the nicest people. People in Iceland are nice because we've been forced to learn how to cooperate, because the people who didn't cooperate are already frozen to the ground. Eve is kind of like that. It forces you to cooperate with others because alone you can't really achieve your full potential in Eve. It pushes you to connect with others. There are aspects of the game that almost intentionally make you feel lonely when you're alone. And that creates the foundation of the friendship machine, as we call it. This forced cooperation due to the hostileness of the environment and, later on, other players. That has created a very strong bond between people that play together in the game. End quote. This forced cooperation manifested as new players quickly came together for safety in this alien game world. While numerous small corporations endeavored to eventually take and hold nullsec territory, it was much easier in this early stage for players to base their operations in Empire space and venture out into nullsec to gather valuable resources from these systems, then return with a haul and sell or utilize what they gathered. But with so many players traveling through nullsec, a clear method of generating profit emerged. One that played into the fantasies of many science fiction enthusiasts. Piracy. Traveling together in small bands, pirates began roving the common lanes that miners and traders would take from Empire space through nullsec, seeking quarries. To do so, pirates would designate one or more of their group members to act as a tackler, tasked with ensnaring their target.
To buy more stuff.
And to do so, they would outfit their ship with specific modules. First was the stasis webifier, which
I could go home from the
would
teleport.
Reduce their speed, making it nearly impossible to evade weapons fire. Second, and most important in a pirate's arsenal, was the warp disruptor, which, true to its name, would prevent a ship from entering faster than light travel and escaping. Both of these components would be placed in the mid-power slots, making the tackler more vulnerable than its compatriots, and so it would rely upon its allies while engaging a target. This, however, would often be unnecessary, as traders and miners were frequently unfamiliar with combat, making them easy prey. To counteract this, these more peaceful players would chart new routes and learn tricks to evade pirates, initiating an ever-evolving game of cat and mouse. An early player named Nightfreeze recounted their experience on their first trading run, shipping goods that they had bought with weeks' worth of ISK. Quote, "At the time, I naively believed that any security rating above 0.0 would be safe because nobody would be ballsy enough to dare provoke the wrath of the 5-0 in space. I turned out to be wrong. I knew that something was wrong when my ship started to beep and a red target lock cursor appeared in the horizon.
Your skill has increased.
Deathbringer. The beeping accelerated, and a red square appeared around my ship. Since I hadn't even bothered trying to fight a training pirate yet, I had no idea what the heck was going on. He sent a message to me, 250k or die. I responded to him, okay, the sweat dripping down my armpits past my side and accumulating in a little puddle at the edge of my shirt. 5 or more seconds must have passed as I fumbled for the micro warp drive hotkey, and just as they started to warm up, the first missile slammed into my ship. The warp gate was 15,000 meters away. I had to be within 800 meters to pass through it, and I was currently flying at about 300 meters per second. A second missile exploded against the hull, bringing down my shields and tearing apart my hull. I knew that if one more missile hit me, my ship would be nothing more than space debris, and this fuck who couldn't even spell death correctly would have access to all I had worked for. Come on, you fucking pieces of shit, I shouted at the monitor. My dog started to bark in the background, but I could barely hear it. The only thing that mattered was the gate, because I knew that if I had lost that cargo, all my week's worth of hard work and all my finely tuned bullshit would be down the drain. Whoosh! I hadn't used the micro warp drives since the night before and forgot about just how powerful they were. I was now shooting toward the warp gate at 3.5 kilometers per second, and all Deathbringer had to account for his 2 expensive missiles was a trail of dust. If you're reading this right now, Death, I'd like to give you a hearty you. I arrived at the specified starbase in the Galente region, my ship battered and bruised, and my ego several sizes smaller. I sold the computer hardware for a total of 3.7 million credits. The hull repairs amounted to 100K. I felt my heart with my left hand. It was still pulsing rapidly, and the realization that I had netted 600,000 credits in 25 minutes, along with a
your skill has increased,
sent it shooting up even further. I did several more trade routes that morning, and by 9 a.m., my credit count read 5,780,000 credits. End quote. No matter what tricks were discovered, however, piracy remained a lucrative trade due to the heavy traffic in the lanes used to haul ore. Because of the distances involved in transporting ore from nullsec to Empire space and little safe way to store it during the process, a mining operation would often consist of 1 mining ship to pull the ore from the asteroids and 5 or more transport ships to haul it back to Empire space, all of which were easy targets. Soon, piracy was lucrative enough for the first pirate gangs to lay claim to territory in nullsec. Outfitted with various combat ships, they moved into the most valuable star systems, seeking flighty mining and transport ships. On occasion, groups of pirates would find trade routes frequented by the more economy-minded players and perform one of the most feared and most obnoxious practices to those in Empire space: a gate camp. Essential for transit between systems, stargates also acted as choke points for players to exploit, as there only ever is one linking 2 systems together, and so pirates would often wait at these combined ingress and egress points in low security space, waiting for unsuspecting players to appear and destroying their ship, sometimes before they could even load the new system. Eventually, CCP were forced to add auto turrets onto stargates to prevent routes from being blockaded for long stretches of time. In the months following the release of the game, CCP was also able to address the issue of those who had bought factories for resale by a relatively simple method. In order to keep a factory, the player holding it would be forced to pay a regular maintenance fee for it, relative to the amount of money that could potentially be made from its output. In essence, a land value tax. Just as in the real world, this made the factories a significant financial burden to speculators who weren't using them, leveraging the speculators to either begin producing ships or sell the factories to someone who would. In short order, the factories were serving their intended purpose. The game hadn't even been live for 3 months, and already CCP was being forced to adjust their game to contend with the space game enthusiasts, notorious for exploiting any system that they could as a part of their fun, while simultaneously attempting to complete the systems that they had intended for the game. And these new systems promised to create even more unforeseen and perhaps unmanageable problems. Over the following months, the more adventurous corporations began to establish themselves in Nullsec, and already the diplomatic situations in different regions were developing in distinct ways. These early groups of players, typically no more than a few dozen people, would form the first alliances with one another to stave off competition, typically naming themselves after the region of space that they inhabited. In this early stage of the game, there was no way for players to officially lay claim to territory, but over a decade later, Andrew Groen would resurrect information that had largely been lost by trawling through long-abandoned forum threads and speaking with numerous leaders from the time, and by doing so, he managed to chart early Nullsec. To the southeast was the pirate nation of the Curse Alliance, who frequently warred with the rigid and authoritarian Stain Alliance. To the west and the north were the Fountain Alliance, the Coalition of Free Stars, and Venal Alliance, which boasted more democratic systems of governance between their constituent corporations. While a significant contingent of players sought to take and hold territory in Nullsec, most made their home in Empire space. Though maintaining a Nullsec presence was lucrative, it was also difficult and time-consuming, and for most, this was a distraction from the more specific activities which drew them to
Your skill has increased.
It also meant that much of the money within the player economy was held in Empire space, and so, even Nullsec powers would have to enter
Your skill has increased.
territory and trade with the players there, though many Nullsec dwellers found them tepid. For the industrialists, trading with Empire space was not only efficient, but necessary. While the most valuable materials were in Nullsec, the basic materials required for all ships could only be found in Empire space, and so it was impossible to maintain a Nullsec presence without some sort of supply line to Highsec and Lowsec. This meant that these two worlds of Eve, while in most ways separate, were fundamentally tied to one another. And while the flow of resources between the two was imperative, the most stark example of this interplay was illustrated in the mercenary corporations. Varying widely in terms of background, these mercenaries would take contracts to harangue whatever target was desired, and during this early stage, their prices were often cheap, with the thrill of the fight being a part of the reward. The people or corporation issuing the contracts could also be kept secret at their behest, and in this way, competitors could be weakened or eliminated without any fighting on the part of the buyer. Pirate gangs were eager to loan out their services for interstellar credits, but many of them were unaccustomed to attacking targets that fought back, and so a niche began to develop for players who had experience not only trapping vulnerable targets, but engaging in proper fleet-based combat. As the demand increased, various new mercenary groups were beginning to form, often out of ragtag clusters of players who were more familiar with the praxis of combat than theory. But sometimes it was simply enough for a player to be familiar with combat to disrupt the supply lines of more economy-oriented corporations and allow their competitors to surpass them. Such aggression meant that most every corporation needed to be prepared for a fight, and so they began to learn the methods by which to defend themselves, along with hiring their own mercenaries to protect their ships, meaning that anyone paid to disrupt another corporation had to expect pushback. While miners often weren't familiar with the finer points of combat, many already had the most important equipment necessary to participate: a battleship. During this time, there were no ships dedicated to mining, and so miners chose the ships with the most available high slots for mining lasers. A particular favorite was the Apocalypse, which boasted 8 high slots.
Your
and a
skill
large
has increased.
capacitor. All the miners had to do was trade their mining equipment for weapons, and they were ready to defend themselves in a minimal fashion. What had once effectively been paid piracy was more and more becoming obsolete, and in its place was mercenary work. Among these early mercenaries
Your skill has
were a few
increased.
corporations that attracted attention. Unparalleled were the Masters of Ownage, or Mu, who had become infamous after their gate camp in Mara and Pasari that shut down trade in the north for weeks. But there were a few smaller corporations that were beginning to gain a reputation.
I don't know, I think the leech will
namely
kill me.
Body Count Inc. This group, led by the charismatic Celine, was one of the first to dedicate all of their corporation's time to handling mercenary contracts, and while they accepted paltry sums to begin, their fees grew as both the demand for mercenaries and the demand for body count ink increased. But as mercenary corporations fought one another, there was a surprising effect. Since warfare never resulted in the permanent deaths of any of the players, it was possible to fight against particular enemies repeatedly, and as they did, they grew familiar with one another, especially those who could fight exceptionally well. Such exemplary pilots would sometimes impress their enemies so much that they would be invited to join those they had fought. And so, a core tenet of EVE Online was discovered. In the words of Celine, quote, "The best way to recruit people is by shooting
Your skill
them."
has increased.
And so, the best pilots in the game began to conglomerate into groups and charge hefty prices for their services, prices that corporations were more than willing to pay in this key moment in the history of the economy.
I don't know, he'll pop
EVE.
right there.
During the
But I mean,
production
I'm safe,
of the
though.
game, one of the envisioned roles in EVE
Gonna go
Online
pee while I
was that of
heal.
a trader, traveling from location to location in order to find places to buy goods low and sell high based on an asymmetry of information. Players would only be able to see the goods on offer in their current region, and then they would have to travel to the station where the good was being sold. But as players traded with one another and the player economy began to establish itself, the need for a centralized hub of commerce grew. In order to maximize visibility and convenience, many chose one particular system from which to base their trade: Uli. Uli was a natural choice, given that it was a high-security system with the maximum value of 1, meaning that trading there was remarkably safe. But more importantly, it resided at the precise center of Empire space, making a trip to Uli a reasonable distance, no matter where a player was. Soon, all manner of players were traveling to Uli in order to buy and sell goods, and almost anything could be purchased there. This posed a problem. So many players in a system taxed the game servers heavily, and if too many people began to use Uli as a trade hub, then the servers would be unable to accommodate them. But soon, an even greater existential threat to the game would appear. Toward the end of 2003, the deal that CCP had made with its publishing companies was concluding, but Simon & Schuster had no intention of renewing the deal, and so they reached an agreement that would return the publishing rights to the game developer. And while they had no infrastructure or connections to print physical copies of the game, CCP had another plan. On December 3rd, 2003, CCP made an announcement on their website. Quote, CCP, the developer of the highly acclaimed MMORPG title EVE Online, announced today that it has regained the publishing rights for the title worldwide and will start distributing it as a direct download from the internet. We are very pleased to be in a position where we can contribute equally to both development and publishing, says Ivor Chris Jensen, CEO of CCP. We have reached an agreement with Simon & Schuster Incorporated and Vivendi International regarding Canada and North America, as well as with Crucial Limited for Europe. We expect the downloadable version to increase global sales sharply. Our player base has been growing steadily since the launch of EVE Online in May. Our game servers are in good shape, and we are technically ready for much faster growth now, says Hilmar V. Pedersen, CCP's Chief Technical Officer. The player community is a great source of new ideas for the future development of the game. EVE Online is an evolving, living game, and we can't wait to see how the players will react to some of the new stuff we will be adding in the future. End quote. But this optimism was undermined by the problems that Uli now presented. As mentioned previously, the game's server architecture was designed so that each region in the game world was managed by a different server. However, the newest processors at the time proved to be suboptimal for CCP's purposes, and so, even the latest CPU technologies wouldn't help to bolster their servers for the influx of players, specifically the growing population in Uli. Theoretically, this could have been solved by changing the regions that each server managed and perhaps utilizing a specific server for Uli, but with the volume of players that Uli threatened to host, not even a dedicated server for that star system would be enough. What's more, players were beginning to discover exploits that threatened their faith in the game to function as it was intended. On March 3rd, 2004, a corporation named Zombies Inc. descended upon Uli with a single apocalypse battleship
Your skill
and a
has
bevy
increased.
of dedicated logistics ships, parking themselves near a stargate, approximately where players would arrive when entering the system or approaching the gate to leave.
Your skill has
The
increased.
apocalypse was equipped with a special kind of weapon, a smart bomb. When activated, this niche weapon would deal massive damage to everything within a certain distance of the user, whether ally or enemy. As soon as ships appeared, the pilot of the apocalypse activated his smart bombs, and his targets were instantly destroyed. As Uli was a system with a 1.0 security rating, Concord appeared almost instantly in order to destroy the offending player. But as soon as they did, the logistics ships began repairing it from just outside of the radius of the smart bombs, as Concord ships approached and were destroyed in the successive blasts. Now, not only
Your
were
skill has
countless players
increased.
being destroyed in Uli, but so were the game's NPC police. While Concord attacked the Apocalypse battleship, the logistics ships were entirely ignored. This was due to an oversight that Zombies Inc. had discovered. While attacking another ship in Empire space would grant the player a wanted status and summon the police, repairing another ship would not, even if the player receiving the repairs was wanted. Having estimated the damage output of Concord's ships, Zombies Inc. had brought just enough logistics capability to outpace the damage that Concord could deal, making the Apocalypse practically invulnerable. Any players attempting to intervene by attacking the logistics ships would, in turn, be destroyed by Concord, since, by the game's definition, they were innocent. And so, they were able to continue their slaughter in Uli for an unrecorded period of time. Victims of Zombies Inc. went to the forums to complain, and soon, even those who hadn't encountered the small fleet were complaining to the developers that trade through Uli, and therefore in much of the game, had been brought to a halt due to an exploit. CCP's game masters contacted the perpetrators and instructed them to cease. Zombies Inc. declined. A post made to the forum by the game masters describes the incident in full. Quote, "As a lot of you are aware, a certain corp willingly exploited a fault in the game mechanics and managed to kill over 100 people in the supposedly secure Uli system last night. We have decreed that those who were the recipients of this heinous crime will be fully reimbursed for their loss. If you are one of those who lost your belongings and still haven't petitioned us, please do so and we will see to it that your possessions are returned to you. The exploiters have received a ban for their efforts, and anyone thinking of following their example should be aware that the same fate awaits them. The GM team." End quote. While players were in general glad to have the Uli system cleared, this set a new precedent. With pompous rhetoric, the game masters declared that they would not allow players to bend the rules farther than CCP dictated, but how much was too much was left unspecified. In this case, a rule was codified and enforced as an event was taking place. Namely, that players were not allowed to survive indefinitely against Concord in high security space. Anything that allowed them to do so would be considered an exploit, and therefore, a bannable offense. However necessary it may have been, and however popular the decision may have been with players, it established the company in an adversarial role to many of its players, especially the ones most interested in experimentation. Though trade could once again travel through Uli, this did not lead to the rise of any powerful high-sec corporations due to a particular mechanic. While players were safe from wanton attacks from other players in high-sec space, and players in low-sec space were risking their lives by attacking other players, there was a way for players to attack one another safely, even while Concord was present. A war declaration. By paying a fee every week, a corporation could declare war against another and be granted the right to attack any of their ships on site, often referred to as bribing the police. This meant that, whenever a high-sec corporation became powerful enough, other corporations would band together to check it and prevent it from becoming too powerful and affecting a monopoly. Even so, there were enough individuals and small corporations trading out of Uli that the servers began to lag. This was not a difficult threshold to reach. Despite boasting about high potential player counts, EVE Online required less than 100 players to be present in the system before problems began to manifest. But as Crowd Control Productions was contending with Uli, the initial powers of nullsec were beginning to fracture, and soon, divisions would spark conflict that would push their server infrastructure to its limits. To the north, bad blood born from the early wars over sovereignty was beginning to heat. Due to the global nature of the game, CCP realized that implementing a fair method of territory control would require something more complicated than a simple attack and hold method. Otherwise, a corporation could simply attack another group's territory during their off hours, and then a counterattack could be launched, enacting a never-ending back and forth which would discourage any sort of decisive conflict. Therefore, they designed the reinforcement system. In order to capture a starbase, a faction would have to attack it twice. The first time, they would simply be able to reduce its hull to 25%. Upon reaching this number, the starbase would enter reinforcement mode, during which it could not be damaged for a length of time contingent upon the amount of strontium fuel with which it had been equipped, with more strontium meaning a longer reinforcement period. Most importantly, since strontium gradually was depleted, the amount could be manipulated in order to bring the starbase out of reinforcement mode during active hours for the defending alliance. In this way, holding starbases was feasible without always having players online. But these stations were more than just static buildings.
Your skill has increased.
Player-owned stations, or POSs, were designed in such a way as to allow a defender an advantage. Most immediately, a station could be equipped with automatic weapons that required no player input, adding firepower to any defensive endeavor. Even unequipped, however, the station
Your skill has increased.
a wide shield which could only be passed if the player had the correct password. While the station could be attacked from the outside, any ship within the shield could not. But similarly, any ship
Your skill has
inside the
increased.
shield could not attack any ship outside of it, granting a small armistice zone to which a defending fleet could retreat during a battle and placing
Your skill
onus
has
upon
increased.
the attackers to either focus enough fire on the station to reinforce or destroy it, or destroy any damaged ships before they could retreat to the safety of the shield. Extra ships could be stored inside of these stations as well,
Your skill has
allowing
increased.
players to re-equip themselves for combat if they lost their ship. In order to claim a system, all a corporation had to do was own the majority of starbases. Now was a key time to claim and capture territory before anyone else
Your
could
skill
lay
has
their own
increased.
claims and force their opponents to wrest control for them. As while a starbase is being constructed, it is extremely vulnerable. Mercenary Coalition even posted a video to the forums of
Your
the
skill
time
has
they were
increased.
hired exclusively to stand as bodyguards for an infant starbase,
200.
which they affectionately referred
Nice.
to as an egg. Once claimed,
No loot,
the
though.
owning faction could place an outpost in the system, a significant boon. As opposed to
God, I hope that
bosses,
leash doesn't wake up.
outposts were indestructible, making goods stored there much safer. But they also acted as places where goods could be listed for sale. Anything bought or sold there, or any minerals refined there, would be taxed, with the money being placed in the bank account of the corporation. Taking territory now, before other alliances could place their star bases and claim control over systems, was vital, and it would lead to a war that the servers of EVE Online could scarcely handle. The opening engagement of this first large-scale war of EVE Online was described by Andrew Groman in Empires of EVE. Quote,
Your skill has
both
increased.
sides opened fire, unleashing a stream of missiles, railguns, and laser munitions, the sheer number of which had never been seen before in New Eden. With nearly 300 people in the battle, the EVE servers strained under the weight of this enormous cataclysm, and strange things began to happen. Missiles disappeared out of thin air. Ships exploded seemingly without having been touched. Pilots were kicked offline without warning, then reappeared in a different part of the solar system and in a different ship. End quote. Such conditions were unfavorable for either side, and fleet commanders eventually learned to ration their pilots and limit the size of engagements in order to manage lag and prevent battles from escalating beyond the capacities of the servers, a frustrating yet necessary decision. But nullsec wasn't the only place where these limitations were manifesting. For months, the central economic system of Uli in Empire space had been growing, and as it did, the servers were struggling. Crowd Control Productions had little ability to control the movement and actions of the people operating in nullsec, but in Empire space, they had far more options, and here they took drastic action. Uli was a popular trading hub due to its centralized location, which boasted safe passage from all corners of space, and so the company took the simplest option. They severed most of the connections. In short order, the traders had scattered. Without a central hub, trade quickly was redistributed into quadrants of Empire space, loosely based in the 4 different NPC empires.
Scattered among the worlds of men to find work.
Was facing the
I've been there.
of vital resources from nullsec due to a war raging in the north. Without the relatively safe routes through Uli, Empire space was severed in two by low-security choke points through which traders had to travel, choke points that could easily be exploited by pirates, further segmenting the economy. But soon, a new strain would be placed on the servers. In early 2004, the main competition for EVE Online, Earth and Beyond, was ending. EVE had already enticed many of its players away in the beta stages of its game, and now, as Earth and Beyond was closing its servers, a sizable portion of its players were migrating to EVE Online. While CCP's digital distribution method was a gamble at the time, and it could easily take over 24 hours to download the game with contemporary internet speeds, it meant that those moving from Earth and Beyond to EVE Online could easily download the client for the game and join relatively quickly, attracting a massive influx of players. Recognizing how many new people were joining, and also recognizing how impenetrable their game was, CCP set to work making their game as inviting as possible for this flood of players. Working with IGN and GameSpy, they cheekily offered what they called an upgrade for Earth and Beyond players to EVE Online, including a personal guided tour of the game. In a public release, they stated, quote, "The upgrade program will include a no-obligation free trial of EVE Online and a walkthrough of the game by a member of the EVE volunteer group. The EVE volunteer will explain to the user the differences between the two games and ease the transition into EVE from Earth and Beyond." End quote. These new players were entering the game during a time of extreme instability in the in-game economy, and only a few months after these new players joined and were attempting to establish themselves, nullsec was fractured. The offer that CCP had made to Earth and Beyond players proved to be a resounding success, and many groups in the dying game moved wholesale from one game to the other, providing them with an immediate source of manpower. However, those more aimless players coalesced into a new corporation which they named Celestial Horizon. With thousands of players, the already massive Celestial Horizon had a far larger population than the vast majority of other corporations in New Eden, and even though they were inexperienced, their numbers alone quickly made them into an industrial superpower who spent their early months in Empire space stockpiling liquid assets, their size making them largely unassailable. This chaos meant opportunity for many new players, and some of the loudest were the goons. Goon is an epithet worn proudly by the early internet users posting on the Something Awful forums, a group known for their irreverent, provocative manner. As online documentarian Bernie notes in his history of the site's operator, even the name Goon originates from the letter of an angry web admin who had been featured on the Something Awful website and subsequently harassed by its forum members. Noticing the extremely accessible method of distribution that CCP had adopted, some members of the board began posting threads encouraging other members to download the game and join. However, due to their inherently chaotic nature, it was difficult to wrangle them toward any common goal, and over the months, numerous goon-led corporations congealed and collapsed due to petty infighting. Andrew Drone chronicles the early months of the goons' presence in the game, where, after numerous attempts, one leader was able to coax enough of them into a single corporation, which was named Goonfleet. Their capabilities, however, were obviously lacking, given that almost every single player entering the corporation was entirely new to the game, with their only qualification being that they were a member of the Something Awful forums. They even paid to have banner advertisements displayed on Something Awful encouraging members to join Goonfleet, hoping to attract a large volume of players, regardless of skill. When a new member joined Goonfleet, they would immediately be given a ship and a personal lesson on how to play the game, but even so,
your skill has
they were
increased.
woefully ineffective. This was a feature that they owned and incorporated into their fleet tactics, rather than trying to field effective ships.
I'm gonna try again, I think. I'm gonna try again, but I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Like, I've been looking at the game, like the questing is bullshit, and I don't want to do it. I wanna try again, but I've been looking at it wrong, I think. I don't want to do the quests. I don't even want to take them, and I don't need to. And I've been looking at that game wrong. I've been doing it wrong. Like it's the the questing pays.
Your skill has increased.
But I mean, I don't need it. I don't need that questing. I don't need it. I think I'd much rather just kill, just like I'm doing here. Yeah, nice. Yeah, the bull demo was low. 100 XP off him. Not bad. Should have had loot, though. I want the Empress ring. Oh, no, I'm not using my ring. Why are my rings wrong? What the hell? No. God damn it, you fucking... No wonder. Why did you do this? I told you not to do that. Oops. There. So I think I want to try again. Yep. But no quests. Because the quests took me to places where I'll die. I'm gonna start Horde side. I don't know. Like, I think it's the questing, because the questing, I wouldn't have gone to the zone yet until there was no more XP off the mobs, really. Like, I've been looking at it wrong. Like, those quests, they're nice. Oh, I got him. Good.
Your skill has increased.
Get his loot. Yup, if I don't have to go anywhere but grind the mobs, that's it. It's not that I'm doing it wrong. It's that I followed the quest. Do you have to do the quest? No, no, no. You don't have to do any of those quests. I can go to the mainland and just grind my way across it. I've been thinking about it wrong. Like, God damn it, I have been. Yeah. And not even go in the caves. Yep, and just keep on going. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It's not that I'm playing the wrong game. It's that I've got the wrong mindset. Damn it, I had a good setup on that rogue, but I didn't have the realization fast enough. No, I don't want to be on WoW. I don't want to be on WoW. I don't, no. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. I will add it to the mix, is what I will do. I will add it to this mix, and I will play it laconically, very, very slowly. Yep. And therein lies the rub. And I don't want to do any quests or anything like that. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that, right? It's the mindset. It's the mindset that's wrong. I have to keep taking stabs at it, I think. Because it's like I don't like walking away from it. It's like their structure bothers me. Do you have to quest? Yeah, yeah. No, no. Delete. Yep. Delete. Yeah, I'm gonna go Horde. And I'm gonna go Rogue. Oh no! The fucking... Aw, the thing on Charm. Son of a bitch, man. I look away for 1 fucking second and you die. It's so annoying. God damn it, man. Oh, well, I'm up, though. Those things were paying. They were, like, paying pretty well. Yep, 751, I'm up. Now I want to try the dunes. See if I can do better. I'm fairly sure Boobarine was higher than dunes. No, it's not right. It doesn't feel right. It's not right. It's not right. It sucks. It's not right. It's not right. It's moving in other games in the rotation tomorrow. It's not it. It's not it. Like, see, it's not. It's the mindset. Like, it's the mindset. It's so annoying. But it's all right. There. Let's try Zolkheim. I haven't done this in a while. Right, it is the mindset. It sucks, but it is. It's like I can do that game if I grind. What I want to know is, do you have to quest? Well, can you grind entirely to wow, hardcore. Can you grind mobs entirely to 60? Because it's like, oh shit, so it's the quest. See, like, it keeps making me travel around and I don't want to. I just want to kill. See, that it is it. I was just scared you couldn't do it. Like, so let's go home. Yeah, like Eve's good, but like I don't need this. I don't need to mine Eve. I don't need to. I'm gonna switch it back up. It is it. It is it. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna try again. But fuck their quests. Like, their quests are impossible to do with 3 clients running. I just want to kill my way across the land, like I've been doing in the other 2 games. That's what I'm gonna do. I've been looking at it wrong. Damn, who owns this? Is it Bastock? No, it's Sandy. 27 out of 40 is good, yeah. So what's the leech check? He's EM. That's fucking perfect. I'll take it. Yeah, take the leech. Yep. Come on, you. Hurry up, you. I'll go back to it and fuck the quests. They actually don't recommend doing the quests. Yeah, I'm like, fuck the quests. I don't want to go in the caves, and I don't want to pay attention. Like, God damn it. I just wanted to kill my way across the land and sell everything, and that's what I want to do. I've been playing it like it's like I don't want to quest my way to 60. I want to kill my way to 60. What's he check? He's EM. It's actually perfect. Yes, let's do it. You know, the dunes is a bop, but I don't know. I'm gonna fill this thing. I'm gonna fill it with minerals and stuff and then I'm gonna move. I'm gonna have it all hauled. Smart fab units and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Yep. Yep. So this was fun, but it's not it. It's not what I want. I think I do want to try hardcore. I'm just looking at it wrong. I never would have died to those mobs unless the quest told me to go there. I never would have died to them. I was in way over my head. I was not ready. So, like, yeah, like the minute that, yep, and the money will just buy my way. Yeah, fuck the quests. I just want to grind. Yeah, let me grind it. Like, the quests got me in trouble, and that's the difference. I'm gonna go right back, and I'm gonna try again. Oh, did we... Oh, yeah, you dying? Yeah, you're dying, yeah. So, yeah. Hey, 100 XP, I'm up. Yep, almost back to what I lost. So now, yeah, the thread leech is fine, though, so what else can we do here? Can't link leeches, but the damsel is tough. Let's give a swing at the damsel with, Yeah, it's perfect. Rogue. And I just grind. Grind and grind and grind and grind. Yep. Until I'm, like, level 5. Yep. And then I just go out. Yep. And, well, I just keep killing, honestly. I can just keep killing. I'll just grind kitties the whole fucking way. Until I can, like... Well, no, I don't have to grind anything. I can grind anything I want. Yeah. I'm in that game for the grind, damn it, and the quests took me to places I shouldn't have been. Fucking annoying. Yeah, with no quest log or anything. Oh my god, why? Why not? Why not? There now, can I kill him is the next thing. I don't know. Let's see. Please let me get the para. Yep. If I can get the para, I can kill him. Maybe. Oh, he hurts, though. Oh, I don't know. Start healing. I have poison on me. A nasty poison on me. Get it off. Okay, good. And then... Yeah, run the weapon skill. I don't know if that was enough. Run a charm now before it gets out of control. Yeah. Yeah, fuck the quests. You see, it's not that I'm doing it wrong. It's that I can't do 3 clients and worry about questing. It drives me crazy. I hate questing. But I can kill like a madman. And then I'm going to embrace my strengths. If there's nothing in the game that I can't do, I can grind all the way. It doesn't matter. I'm going to try again. Sit down. Yeah, that's it. It is it. Like, damn it. It's not that I'm doing it wrong. It's that the quests suck. I'm going to try again. Stupid addictive thing. I'm glad I didn't uninstall it. Yeah, try again. I bet I can grind so much faster than the quests. Yep. I had all that nice gear too, but oh well, it doesn't matter. Now it'll feel more honest. I didn't get any gifts or anything. Oops.
You've been examined. Your skill has increased.
Fucking annoying. Where's the client? What are you talking about? This client is not here. God damn it. There it is. Yeah, I'll grind my way across the Horde lands, because who cares? It'll be interesting, because I don't know it. I mean, I know it, but I don't really know it. There, she's all made up and everything, sweet.
Bound to the iron will of the tyrant Lich King, the vast undead armies of the Scourge seek to eradicate all life on Azeroth. Led by the Banshee Sylvanas Windrunner, a group of renegades broke away from the Scourge and freed themselves of the Lich
Oh god, where's the client? God damn it, man. God damn it.
This group fights
Come on.
a constant battle.
Please kill
not only
him.
to retain its freedom
Please
from the
kill him.
Scourge,
Jesus Christ. Like,
but also to slaughter those who would hunt them as monsters.
God damn it, I'm like totally
With
distracted.
Sylvanas as their Banshee queen, the Forsaken have built a dark stronghold beneath the ruins of Lordaeron's.
Why did my
former
frame rate
city.
plummet?
This hidden undercity forms a sprawling labyrinth that stretches beneath the haunted woods of the Tirisfal Glades. Though the very land is cursed, the zealous humans of the Scarlet Crusade still cling to their scattered holdings, obsessed with eradicating the undead and retaking their homeland. Convinced that the primitive races of the Horde can help them achieve victory over their enemies, the Forsaken have entered an alliance of convenience. Harboring no true loyalty for their new allies, they will go to any lengths to ensure their dark plans come to fruition. As one of the Forsaken, you must massacre any who pose a threat to the new order. Human, undead.
Yeah, I'm just here to kill. No quests. I'm not gonna take a quest. Yeah, begin the adventure. Add-ons, right? Yeah. Skycat.live. Reload. As it's no longer needed. Destroy the Hearthstone. What do you mean? Damn it, I should have saved a profile. Oh well, it's okay. Fucking annoying though. Oh, gotta fix it all again. I gotta save the profile this time. Oh, I can copy it. I can copy it. Yes! That makes my job so much easier. Oh my god. Yes, yes, yes. So, come here. That's my bartender. Yeah, bartender's good. Gold. And then, yep, all I have to do is fit the Z Pearl. Here we go. Yep. And we're like pretty much set up. Yeah, like look, I can just get right back in it. Get out and kill now. Yeah. And fuck the quests. I don't want the quests. You can keep them. Yeah. I'm done with your guidance or whatever. You get me killed. It's not that the quests are bad. It's that I don't need them. I really don't need them at all. So, yep. No. Oh, no. That's wrong. So, attack should be where I can see it. Yeah. Sinister Strike. Eviscerate. And throw will be shift 1. Yeah, or well, no, I want throw on 1 and I want potion on shift 1, yeah. Unlock. Damn it. Want you taller and skinnier. Like that. As tall as you'll go. There it is. Right. Okay. And I'll change my title. Wait, I don't want that. I don't want this add-on. Fishing buddy, right? Yeah. FB. Hardcore. What is this one? It's Rested XP Guides. Yeah, Rested XP Guides, I don't need it. Yeah. And then, well, yeah, speedy auto loot, like auto loot, I don't care, like reload though. Okay, we're back in it. Gonna try again. Damn it, I went too far. Why would you target my thing? Ah! Go. No, no. Target the thing, damn it. Oh my god, close this. Yes. Yeah. Give me my screen. What the fuck, man? Give me my fucking screen. Fucking Windows, man. Yes, you. Give me my screen now. What the fuck? Alright, just close it then. You like memory leaked or something, man. What the fuck did you do? Oh my god. I don't know. Maybe I should try exiting this game anyways. Yeah, and then, oh, there's currently an issue with expeditions in which more than 10 to 5 players are able to enter. The team is working to resolve this issue as soon as possible. Please be aware of using this bug in order, again, an event is considered an exploit. Wow. Fucking so annoying. Why won't you kill this? It's because it's glitched. It's like memory leaks. There, see? You're gone. That killed it, I think. Yeah, did that kill it? No, no, cancel. Cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. Yeah. There you go. God damn, you like glitched out bad, man. But at least you're back. Yep. Probably because loading WoW. Yeah. So try again. Ooh, see, once the the questing pisses me off, but the grinding doesn't. Yeah. This is great. This is great. This is the best idea I've ever had. Gotta change my title. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna start over. Come on, man. Where is that? There. Yep, we're gonna change it back. And I'm gonna go back to it. I'm not gonna give up. God damn it. Yep. Oh, am I being attacked? No, I'm not online. Okay, or well, I am online, but it appears to have disappeared. No, there it is. So I think ray tracing kind of started to eat. Oh no, I'm in Juno, I guess is why. Yeah. Next page, Zolkheim. Yes, go. That's fun. Yay! I feel free. I feel free. Yeah, the minute I can just like never worry about it and just keep killing, I'm good. Yeah. Fuck your quests, man. I'm so sick of 20 years of quests. Like, my mind like rebels against it, you know? It's like, fuck that. I just want to kill shit, man. Nope. Controls, interface, social, block trades, block guild invites, block chat channels. Yep, all that stuff. Get it gone. Close. You know, frankly, I don't, like, yeah, really, yeah, that's all I really need, I guess, yeah. Yep. Mindless, simple mindless MMO, that's what I want. Fuck your quests, I don't care about that. Oh, I lost my camera inputs, damn it. And my keybinds. Keybinds. No. Character specific. No. No. I have to redo it all. No. Alright, well, that's okay. We go to... I know the main ones I want. So camera. Zoom in. Zoom out. Set view 1. Set view 2. And let's do a third one, right? Yeah, let's do a third one. Yeah, I don't want the... Or, well, no, the world map pane. I guess I do want the map on... No, I want... Shit, yeah, I do want the world map on... Oops, keybinds for... interface panel for toggle world map. Toggle mini-map, toggle world map pane. Put you back on middle mouse, yeah. So then, okay, so now... Yep, I want the RP view, right? Yep, RP view, set 1. Set 1. Then I want that view, which is like zoomed out a bit, right? Like that. Set 2. Damn it. And then options, camera. Wait, you seem like you zoomed in again. Like there. Try that. Set 2. Oh, you are. You're like zooming in again. Like 2. Oh, because, I don't know. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so, but that's not what I want. Well, maybe, I guess. Okay. So now, instead of numpad 1, we want you and you. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Kill the bad music. Yep. Okay, and yeah. Kill that scavenger. Why is he running? Yep. Oh, the bad parts of the game are gone. Yay. It's not going to take me to places where I just aggro because I'm trying to travel all the time. I don't care about that. I just want to kill. Kill my pretty kill. I like her hair. Let's keep going. Yeah, this is good. This is what I wanted. There we go. Except you seem to be having trouble now. Well, why? Why aren't you auto-looting? Damn it. Nameplates for enemy units. Yup. Friendly players and... Yep. And, oh yeah, fucking far, right? And then... Why aren't you auto-looting? Yep. There we go. I feel so much better now. Mindless zombie. I will kill my way across this land. Cool, she does like a backflip and stuff. Cool. Oh, I will for Will of the Forsaken, don't I? I do. I will for the Forsaken. That's so good. Why is there no keybind? Okay. Keybind to Will of the Forsaken. There we go. Remind me what it does. Provides immunity to charm, fear, and sleep while active. May also be used while already afflicted by charm, fear, or sleep. Charm, fear, or sleep. Okay, charm, fear, or sleep. Okay, cool. The sound effects are too loud. Yeah, they're loud because I need them to be. Yep. Okay, so why can't I tab to this fucking window, huh? Why can't I tab? Is it because you're acting weird or something because you're in a wrong setting or something? No, you're windowed full screen. So why are you fucking with me? Is it because you're windowed full screen? Try windowed, I guess. Apply. Make it big. Okay. Now, can I get my fucking game? No, you crashed my game. God damn it. Well, maybe it's better now. Whatever. Yep, I'll play with the things. I don't care. Yep, that's good. So before you log me out of this, I will chop a tree. There we go. And we will fire up Horizon again, and we'll kill everything that I don't need. Okay, please kill everything that I don't need, and now, yes, and then finally, oh no, you're open, you're working now. See, you're bordered full screen, but actually I wouldn't mind you windowed, so I'm going to log you out. We're gonna run you in a window, and that way I don't ever have any trouble with that again, because I'm sick of you doing that to me. Yep, we're just gonna run you windowed. I don't care. I like window gaming now. I didn't used to, but I do now. I think I want it like downwards a little bit like that. Yep, so I can see better. Yep. Who else wants some? Oh, it's so much better. I found my way through it. Like, it was a mind puzzle. It wasn't that I can't do it. It's that I can't do their fucking structure. I just can't do it anymore. I really can't. So why can't you give me my fucking taskbar, Windows? Are you really this fucking bad? Or can you actually give me my taskbar when I ask you to? No? Oh, yep. There you go. Piece of shit. Okay, so play Horizon XI. Yes. Nope. We want to come here and we want to... I keep making changes, I know, but it's like this whole process. I have to find it. Gotta find this comfort level that I'm looking for here. I'll even sub for a year in WoW if I can play it how I want, you know? Which is, don't tell me what to do. I can't handle them telling me what to do. I really can't. So let's see if this works. Yep. And then I can just multi-box my games. And I don't have to worry about questing or anything stupid like that. Why didn't I think about this earlier? I'm like, no wonder. Like, the minute I follow some quest to some place I don't want to be, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I should have just not left the mainland until I was like, I just couldn't get XP from the things anymore, you know? That's how I should play this. Like, I really cannot focus on fucking... No, you need to make that like that, yep. Now I should have no problem ever again with all tabbing to the games that I want. Right, yeah, they're all windowed. I'm learning. Man, it's like I'm regressing to things that I should have known 15 years ago. But I mean, I did know them 15 years ago, but yeah. Okay, let's try again. Tell me this same thread leaches even match. Nope. What about you? Now you're all tough, and I won't get my even match. It's so annoying. If I charm one of them and they don't charm, they will link and kill my ass. So I was lucky with that EM, but here's a decent fly. Take a decent fly, yeah. Oh, you moved my pet thing. That's okay. Take a fly to another fly. Yeah. Gotta get a protect up. I want him on me, not my fly, so... Okay, kill this thing. It's too loud, maybe, but I'll miss it if I don't.
Your skill has increased.
I'm gonna kill zombies because they probably drop the best loot. I never thought of it as a battler. But yeah, like, you don't have to fucking do their quests. I never even thought about it that way. The quests will get you killed. The quests are for, like, people doing, like co-op stuff. Cool. The skeleton looks sweet. Oh, gotta change my title again. Fuck, I forgot. So, 3 games at once. Wow. Hardcore. Well, classic hardcore. Slash New World. There it is. Yep. C. Done. I'll just keep trying. I'll keep trying until I find what I'm looking for here. It's like that perfect balance of all three, where I don't have to worry too much. I should sit. Will I aggro here? No, I don't think so. I want aggro here, so sit. Edit. Yep. Is it public? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. So then, okay, where is... Yep, I won't have any more window problem if I do that. That's good. Yep, perfect. So... Where's the rogue trainer here? Oh, are you on me now? Oh, you are. I don't know this town, so I've got to learn it. It's just kind of funny. This is a good way to learn the town. I'm about to level. Jesus, this is so much faster. Okay, we're ready to go. Take a look at crabs or rabbit. Ooh, the rabbit. Yeah, the rabbit. Nice, the rabbit. Yeah, the rabbit. Oh, am I aggroed? No, it is someone else. Sniz stab.
Hello.
Nice, I have a silver 37 and I can buy like a...
Beware.
Oh, I don't like the, yeah, the action, or the, show numbers for cooldowns, yep, and then combat. But, oh, wait, are you running? Yes, you are running. That's scary to me. Stop that. Wow, you killed that thing so fast. What is this guy? He's a tough. What's the gob? He's VT. I suppose I shouldn't level here. Oops. I really shouldn't level here. But anyways, I don't want interface for friendly players. Yeah, I need to be able to see their thing. Cloth and leather.
And you
We'll just buy each thing as we can get it.
trust no one. What is it?
Yep. And then we'll just go. We'll go as we can. 45. Yeah, I'll do the boots. Oops. Wait. Oh. Yeah, I don't want to level here. I'm gonna go away, all the way over to the other side of the zone. Yeah. Way over there. I think the ray tracing has eaten up too much of the render scale's good, but the ray tracing is eating up like too much of it. Ray trace shadows is high, but we want them on fair. Yeah, and there, that's a bit better. That probably definitely, yeah, see it did. It was eating up too much of my shit. What is he? He's EP, kill him. We need his fire crystals. I love you, Goblin. Come on, you. Oh my god, what are you off on? Get on the fucking gob, let's go. Wow, that fast, huh? This
Your skill has increased.
Okay, you. Change. Like I told you to. Go, yes, you. Charm. You. Kill the gob. Get on him. Let's go. Okay.
I have exactly what you need.
I don't know, sure.
What do you require?
So this is the...
What now?
Oh, that's the rogue trainer.
Our
Okay.
time will speak. With the sanction of Lord Verimathras, the Deathstalkers' numbers grow. More blades to strike at our enemies when they least expect it.
Nice. Except that's no good. Gotta do that. The stance bar should be over like here. Is that as tall as it can go? Yes, it is. Luck. Okay, good. Hells yeah, looks good. Yeah. There, see, I'm happier. Yeah, no quest. So, but which way was... Where was I before? Was I south? I don't know. Kill zombies, whatever it is. Yeah. Mindless zombies. Cool. I think it is it. The minute that I got the quests out of my way, I was a much happier player. It took me 4 tries to get it, but let's see how far I go with this one, because I'm not going anywhere I shouldn't be this time. I'm just going to keep grinding until I can't, you know. Tough. Wait, are you... stop. Yep, stop. Okay. Alright. You are tough. I don't really want to fight a tough sheep. Oh, wait. Oh, he already has a rabbit. Did you aggro the gob? The gob is tough. I'll take him. Yeah. I like goblins. Sometimes they suicide. Suicide is never the option. Yep, that sheep's going to tear a new goblin. To do stealth, yep.
Your skill has increased.
Oh. Sheep. Get on him again. Oh, you scared me. Did you get him? Yeah, yes you did. So let's put the brutal sheep on something over here. I mean, I'm hurt. I better sit while I have the time, too. I like it without the sound. Yeah, it's much better. Next level I get Cure 2 and it gets a lot better. Like a lot better. Okay, now...
Simply would outfit themselves in some of the cheapest ships and modules that the game had to offer and swarm their target. The majority of the time, this would end in failure, but because so little capital had been invested, the losses were never substantial, and so they would throw themselves wantonly into battles, declaring their motto in the local chat: "We're terrible at this game." Their practices, however, gave them a particular reputation with the rest of New Eden. Only those who had an active account at least 3 months old on the Something Awful forums were allowed into the corporation, but those who applied weren't always simply rejected. Responding to a thread from someone looking to join a corporation, one player said in the EVE Online forums that, quote, "Goonfleet don't recruit in-game. Any advice you get to the contrary will be from a goon trying to swindle you out of your assets.
Yep.
They'll charge an application fee or some such. Then, when you are successful, they will offer to courier your ships down to Nullsec. After you hand over your property,
I love
you
this
will not
story.
hear from them again."
Yep.
End quote.
If you pay an
Another
application
player
fee,
responds,
you're an idiot. You don't
"If
deserve
by
to be in the
some
club.
strange and bizarre miracle you do get into Goons, you will be forever shunned by the rest of the EVE community. Once you join Goons, that's it. You can
Yeah,
never
not
leave
bad.
to join another corp or alliance.
Oop.
You simply cannot be trusted in any other corp or alliance. You might as well just delete your character and start over if you want to leave Goons. End quote. While this was somewhat hyperbolic, it captured the general sentiment of New Eden. There were the Goons, and then there was everybody else. While their money wasn't boycotted, few wanted much to do with them besides trade. As Nullsec grew more competitive, it became clear that the Goons would need allies, and so they created a larger alliance under which all Goons and those corporations within the game who wanted to join them could participate. Goon Swarm. The work, The History of the Great Empire of Eve, an outsider's perspective, speaks to the reputation of the Goons. Quote, "To best understand Goon Swarm, you must first understand Goons. The goons are not native to EVE Online, but rather are a form of invasive species.
Incoming tell.
The defining psychology of the community is that there is us and there is them. Non-members are inferior
Your skill has
to members,
increased.
and many goons delight in the misery of non-members, or puppies. EVE Online is not the first game to be visited by the goons, nor will it be the last. The goons move like locusts
Your skill has
between
increased.
online games, establishing themselves quickly and attempting to conquer the game in order to inflict the most misery for all those not part of the swarm. Almost every major competitive
Intel.
online game has a clutch of goons, deconstructing the game and their enemies.
Your skill has increased.
These alliances that established themselves were taking advantage of the final period of time in which a new alliance could feasibly
I'll go to Liz
capture and
anyways.
hold territory for years to come, and the radical shifts in the fundamentals of the game would establish what would become the first great empires, bending their industrial might for control over weapons that could decide an entire battle with the press of a single button. On June 29, 2005, CCP announced a bevy of updates, most important among them being 2 new classes of ships. Dreadnoughts were a specialized class that wielded weaponry designed to attack the stations that had become vital for warfare. Controlling a station allowed the fighters of a defending or invading force to shelter in a safe hub from which they could launch their fleets, and dreadnoughts wielded the firepower to assault such bulky emplacements. Much larger than battleships, formerly the largest class of ship in the game, dreadnoughts could enter siege mode, which would render them entirely immobile but grant a significant firepower increase. Constructing a dreadnought, however, was a massive undertaking, requiring new starbase modules called capital ship assembly arrays. Rather than assembling the dreadnought in full, there were multiple parts, each of which had to be fabricated separately and then combined to create the completed dreadnought. In order to move the massive amount of materials required for such a ship, the second class that they announced was the freighter. Significantly larger than their older counterparts, these freighters were capable of moving materials on an unprecedented scale. But while they were typically well armored, they would still be obvious targets for pirates and saboteurs. The implication was clear. In order to project power and protect what territory they had, alliances now were forced to turn inward and leverage their economies into production. But the dreadnoughts were eclipsed half a year later with the release of ships that would dwarf all others. On December 16, 2005, CCP released an expansion entitled Red Moon Rising. This time, 3 new ship classes were released. The first was the Carrier, a massive ship that relied on clouds of fighters to perform combat for it, intended as support for a fleet of smaller ships. On the release page, CCP explained that, quote, "The Carrier is an affordable capital ship, and most major corporations are expected to fund and deploy at least one for their engagements." End quote. The second was the Mothership, a larger variant of the more affordable Carriers. But these 2 new ship classes were eclipsed almost entirely by the ship that would come to be synonymous with the game, the Titan. The sheer immensity of a Titan was difficult for players to conceptualize when it was announced. For the first 2 years of the game, the largest ships were the battleships, whose volumes hovered between 450 and 500,000 cubic meters. The largest Titan, in contrast, was an utterly massive 155 million meters cubed, well over 300 times as large. The capabilities wielded by a Titan were commensurate with its size. The first key feature was the ability to open a jump bridge. While Titans were able to utilize the traditional Stargate network outside of HiSec, they also could be used to coordinate massive fleet movements. If another specialized ship could light a cynosural field, then the Titan could use it as a beacon and jump directly to its location, whether in the same system or not, bypassing the Stargate network entirely, as long as the stars were close enough. This meant that, although the Titan was a ponderous ship, it could still rapidly relocate with proper coordination, sometimes directly into a fight, suddenly shifting the balance of power. What's more, other ships could join the Titan in this jump, meaning that it could be used to move an entire fleet at once between stars in great strides, without being forced into the natural choke points of the Stargate network. But the more tantalizing capability of the Titan was the Doomsday device. While CCP was mum about the specific damage numbers, what was known was that a Doomsday device would inflict massive damage in a 500-kilometer radius, centered on a location of the Titan's choosing. What's more, the Titan would not even need to be present in the fight to launch the Doomsday. If another ship could light a cynosural field, then the Titan could fire its Doomsday through it, as long as it was still within the same star system. Many suspected that the first alliance to field the Titan would wield unprecedented power and become nigh unstoppable. Due to its area of effect, the power of a Doomsday scaled with the number of fighters on the battlefield, and over time, battles involving hundreds of players had become more and more common, further emphasizing the imminent importance and dominance of the Titan. Beyond these more immediately impressive features, the Titan also served as a mobile platform from which war could be prosecuted. Players who died could respawn inside of the Titan and take a new ship stored in its hangar to join the fight once again, meaning that a player whose pod was destroyed would be able to rejoin combat immediately, as long as supplies were available. But before their incredible might could be wielded, one would have to be built. Much like the dreadnoughts before them, the different parts of the carrier, mothership, and Titan would need to be constructed separately in different capital shipyards, then brought together and assembled. No power based in Empire space would have the resources or capital required for such a massive undertaking, and even if one did, they would have war declared upon them immediately, and their capital shipyards would be divested from them.
Banish God.
But even in Nullsec, Andrew
Is it off him?
Dolan
Yeah, it's
notes
off
that
him.
there
Go.
were only 2 alliances who could feasibly produce the first Titan, and they so happened to have laid claim to territory immediately next to one another.
Your skill has increased.
Band of brothers who had earlier crushed the alliances in the north, and the overwhelmingly massive Ascendant Frontier, consisting of former players from Earth and beyond. Of these 2, Ascendant Frontier had the clear advantage. While skill and coordination could readily win a battle during this stage of the game, there was no way to outproduce a group with so many members. As Groen notes, quote, Ascendant Frontier was not focused on expansion or military
Your skill has increased.
as Band of Brothers was. Ascendant Frontier had come to own a huge swath of territory in the south, but its members' true passion was industry. Ascendant Frontier wanted to create a prosperous hub of trade and commerce in Nullsec. It was working, too. It was pumping out space stations, outposts, and capital ships at a rate many times faster.
I'm dead! How am I dead? The fucking sheep uncharmed. Son of a bitch.
To accomplish this feat, they would have to overcome a new hurdle. Espionage.
I look away and the fucking, like, sheep's done me in.
God
damn it, man.
Large alliances had increased, as had its notoriety after a particularly high-profile case.
Pretty much the second I alt-tab the sheep uncharmed. So annoying. I'm still going up though. I'm still making progress.
Social club would instead perform contract work for clients looking to subvert their enemies.
Doing okay.
Sometime in late 2004 or early 2005, an anonymous client approached the guiding.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the dunes because like it bugs people.
Sum of ISK, hoping to buy their services to target Ubiqua Seraph, a large corporation of the time. They asked that Ubiqua Seraph's coffers be ransacked and their communal hangars emptied of ships, but the contractors would be allowed to keep all of what they pillaged. The only object that the client wanted was the corpse of the CEO, Mural. The leader of the guiding hand, Istvan Shogatsu, was similarly disinterested in the spoils, but he accepted these terms all the same. The guiding hand spent months infiltrating, earning positions of trust and authority. They were more successful than their client could have dreamed. multiple members found themselves entrusted with much of the corporation's assets, and one agent, named Zemdal, found themselves as one of Mural's lieutenants. Istvan explained, quote, Arenis Zemdal is what we call a Valentine operative. Essentially, his job is to seduce and entice an objective into a state of trust and confidence. As such, we call Mural's relationship to him moments before the strike endeared. End quote. On April 18, 2005, the code word was sent to every agent. Nicole. Immediately, the corporation was drained of all of its liquid assets and much of its stores of supplies, and Zemdal collected the CEO's corpse along with a squad of guiding hand members who had rendezvoused to help deliver the killing blow. Istvan made a public announcement shortly after, with characteristic flair. Quote, Greetings, everyone. It has been some time since I last stood behind a podium and made a public announcement, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm somewhat out of form. The reason I stand here before you is to announce that my mercenary outfit, the Guiding Hand Social Club, has completed its most ambitious contract.
Board 8 Yacht
Our
Club.
target was assigned to us many months ago, Mural of Ubiqua Seraph. Our task was to carry out that which the Guiding Hand Social Club has now become known for.
Board 8 Yacht
To
Club.
utterly demolish Mural and bring all who followed her to their knees in one fell swoop. For those many months we toiled, secreting our operatives among her ranks, steering her organization through a number of insidiously engineered events meant to engender trust and divert their attention from where it should have been. Early this morning, our hard work bore fruit, executing a meticulously planned, thoroughly flawless concerto of simultaneous corp hanger heists, attacks in open space, and facility invasions.
Corp hanger heists.
Came to know the
Fucking
wrath of
assholes.
the Guiding Hand Social Club firsthand.
Oh
The
god.
result shatters any previous records for sheer scale of such an endeavor. Our net gain from this massive heist is roughly estimated at over 20 billion ISK. Total damages inflicted are estimated at close to 30 billion ISK. Thank you all for your time. End quote. This would be far from the final major act of the Guiding Hand Social Club, though they would be more covert from this point forward. This level of metagaming, however, wasn't shared by all people. Most role players, for example, would attempt to play the game as a character within the game world, but those who didn't roleplay often regarded them with derision and saw them as potential targets, either for ridicule or aggressive action. While discussing EVE Online for her podcast This Game Changed My Life, Aoife Wilson posits that, quote, the people you're talking to don't know that the
Be quick
talking
about
part
your
is a game
business.
too. You're going in, you're making
With the
friends, you're
sanction of
gaining
Lord
their trust,
Varimathus,
you're spending a lot of
the
time
Death
with
Stalker's
them.
numbers
You're
grow.
being nice or whatever,
More
and you
blades
know
to
you're
strike at
lying
our
to them
enemies
to
when
the
they
point
least
of
expect
screwing
it.
them over. To which your co-host,
Trust
Julia
no
Hardy,
one.
replies, quote, when you play a game, you are aware of what the structure and the rules of the game are because everyone's playing by the same rules. That's how you know it's a game. But then, if someone comes in and completely changes all the rules, but no one else is aware of the new rules, then it just
Oh,
doesn't
cool, I can go
seem
into
like a
what
fair
longer.
game. End quote.
Oh, I can
These
cannibalize?
early years began to establish the rules by which people would play EVE Online, where other
Oh, wow.
games of its ilk were played mostly within the game world, and this was generally respected by the other players. Real-world duplicity was gradually
Oh, I can eat
becoming a
corpses?
normal
Wow.
and expected part of New Eden, whether the existing players wanted it.
I remember
or
that,
not.
but I just forgot.
Many of the first capital ships were destroyed before even being completed, thanks to the spy networks and scouting work from rival corporations.
Wow.
But finally, on
It's a
September
2-minute
25th,
cooldown, though.
2006, 9 months after Titans were first introduced into the game, the refugee players from Earth and beyond the Descendant Frontier completed the first Titan. Triumphantly, their leader, Cybot, flew it into the capital system of the Alliance, allowing everyone to marvel at the finished Avatar-class Titan, which he named Steve. The origin of this name is in contention. Most sources believe that it was named after the late Steve Irwin, who had died earlier that month, but Andrew Groen recalls that Cyborg attributed the name to a scene from the animated film Over the Hedge, released 4 months prior, in which the squirrel character Hammy comedically proposes naming the massive, newly erected hedges Steve. Whatever the origin of the name, the completion of Steve heralds
Your skill has increased.
Immediately, their enemies and band of brothers invaded, but the power of Steve the Titan blunted their advance simply with the threat of its presence until December 11th.
Your skill has
2006.
increased.
During a large-scale battle, Cyborg unleashed his Doomsday safely through a cynosural field, then jumped to a safe point 20 systems away. But what happened next would change the paradigm of players for years to come, and would pit Band of Brothers against the rest of New Eden. More importantly, though, it would also begin a process that would sour the relationship between the developers of EVE Online and its players.
Your skill has increased.
Game
Killed the
development
rare,
in
did
the
you?
early 2000s was significantly different
Nope.
than it would become 2 decades later. Developing a game typically took only a few years at most, and once a game was completed, it was common for the studio to immediately begin work on something new. MMOs were no exception. Most of them would run for a few years, then die as the player base moved on to play something else. This had already happened to EVE's main competition, Earth and Beyond, and the developers all expected that EVE would suffer the same fate eventually, as a matter of course. But as the game approached the 4th year of its lifetime, it seemed that it was only growing. CCP had created plans to continue adding features, and what's more, they were preparing to launch the game in China, a massive new market, though China would have its own instance separate from the rest of the world. While this was good news for the company, many of the original developers were beginning to grow restless. They hadn't expected to work on EVE for more than a few years, and a number of them were looking forward to making something new. While CCP had plans for other projects within the EVE intellectual property, they were in need of new developers, and so they decided to hire some of their staff directly from their player base. In many ways, this was a logical decision. Hiring players meant that they were passionate and knowledgeable about the game, and they would be conscious of concepts and problems of which an outside hire might otherwise be ignorant. It also meant that they would need less training to learn about the intricacies of EVE. Besides technical know-how, these developers would typically continue to play even after being hired, which meant that they were passively listening to the information that flows through the undercurrent of New Eden in the form of word of mouth, rumors, and propaganda. In this way, they could adjust the servers quickly to anticipate battles that were about to take place and reduce the effects of lag, as well as gather information for balance changes faster than they otherwise would be able. But these new hires created unique problems. Those players willing and able to accept work at Crowd Control Productions were often among the most dedicated and active, and for
Your
many,
skill has increased.
had become a significant part of their lives, deliberately altering their schedules so that they were able to add their firepower to important battles and assist their corporations and allies. Real friendships were frequently formed and broken due to in-game conflicts, while some were burned for in-game advantages. For these players, the boundaries between EVE Online and the real world were either blurry or non-existent. When these players became developers, they gained access to the dev tools and commands. This power was too tempting for some, and they began to utilize these permissions to their own ends, creating rare and valuable items for their corporations and alliances. For example, blueprint originals used for building ships and components were in extremely limited supply, as no new ones could be made, and so most people had to buy copies that would be consumed after only a few uses. Using commands, these player developers could create brand new blueprints for their courtmates and themselves. Hilmar Pedersen, CEO of CCP, noted during an interview for Down the Rabbit Hole that on 5 separate occasions, the problem had become so bad that he had to invite the offender into his office and offer them a choice: stop playing the game or stop working at Crowd Control Productions. Twice, the developer chose to leave the company so that they could continue playing. So great was the role of the game in their lives. It was with knowledge of these bad actors that, as Groen wrote years later, Sybok, leader of Ascendant Frontier and pilot for Steve the Titan, accused a Band of Brothers member of malfeasance. In an interview for a Swedish radio program translated for Empires of Eve, Sybok said, quote, "Suddenly, one of the CCP Interstellar News Corp ships just appeared out of nowhere and started to orbit.
Damn it, man.
2 seconds later, I was bumped offline.
Why did a zombie pop on top of the zombie pop? Jesus Christ, man.
End quote. Those who are more dubious of Sybok's claims
annoying.
noted that after a recent patch, it had become much easier to scan for Titans. And so, while finding Steve by pure chance was unlikely, it was still technically feasible. What precisely happened is contentious, and no definitive proof has been released, but however the location of Steve was divined, the leaders of Band of Brothers received word that Steve the Titan had been discovered, and they immediately gave the order to mobilize. In a matter of minutes, a cynosural field was lit at Steve's location, and the entirety of Band of Brothers' fleet jumped in to see Steve alone, inert, and inactive. Immediately, the dreadnoughts went into siege mode and unleashed their payload into the hull of Steve, which could only wait placidly for the end. Steve the Titan exploded and was reduced to rubble. The first Titan to be built was now the first Titan to be destroyed. The members of Band of Brothers were ebullient, and soon the loss of Steve became common knowledge all throughout New Eden. To honor its death, Steve's ruined corpse would remain in the system of C9N TAC-CC where it was destroyed, so that players may still return to it and pay their respects. The death of Steve had made many players suspicious, but soon an event would occur that would unite all of New Eden against Band of Brothers, and more importantly, alter the relationship between the players and the company on a foundational level. In January of 2007, a hacker responsible for releasing private information on Goonfleet, going by Kubutsumen, approached them, offering to hack their enemies for free after his client from the Coalition of the South refused to pay him for his services. Among those targeted was Band of Brothers, and included with strategically important pieces of information, he discovered logs proving that one of the members of Band of Brothers was a developer, and was granting his alliance rare goods. While some were dubious at first, CCP later confirmed that, indeed, the accusation was true. Hilmar Pedersen wrote on the subject in a public letter with dramatic prose. Quote, "Throughout our history, there have been a handful of cases where our employees or members of our various volunteer and partner programs have taken advantage of the proprietary powers they are granted through access and knowledge. These cases have been investigated, prosecuted, and judgment rendered. Usually the punishment has been quite simple: termination of employment. A pivotal case was uncovered last summer during a routine investigation of developer accounts. Unfortunately, CCP did not act with the same decisive consistency we have used on previous occasions. Those left at the helm chose to react cautiously, as sometimes is appropriate under these circumstances, leading to more leniency and understanding than we are used to in these matters. This particular case, involving a single developer, underlined where improvements needed to be made, and we have since focused our efforts on reinforcing rules and processes so that consistent ruling is assured. It is no trivial thing when corruption takes place. In our case, it's no different than the injustice of public servants in the real world feathering their own nests rather than ensuring the prosperity of the many. Living in a country of a comparable population as the world of Eve, Iceland only has 300,000 inhabitants, I sure know how it can feel when governance is not balanced and feeling powerless to stop it. I am certain that members of the Eve community are now going through similar emotions. I am sure that we all appreciate that it is no coincidence that Dante reserved the lowest level of hell for the worst of those who betrayed their benefactors. In our case, I would regard the Eve community as our benefactors. We are not the gods or the masters of Eve Online or the Eve community. We serve the community. You have entrusted us to safeguard your hard work." End quote. The death of Steve the Titan had raised suspicions before, and now those suspicions had proven correct. Band of Brothers were cheaters. Many in Nullsec had long hated Band of Brothers for various reasons, chiefly their imperialist aims and elitist attitude, but now all of New Eden had been granted a new ideological casus belli. While exploits, glitches, and unintended mechanics are common in games such as EVE Online, this was different. A developer was deliberately abusing his authority and privilege in order to aid his allies. While Band of Brothers as an alliance had already been diplomatically isolated for much of its lifespan, they had now been made a universal target. Players all over New Eden were enraged, snidely calling them Band of Developers. Even though most players weren't present in Nullsec, estimates state that over half of all players somehow participated in the war that would become known as the First Great War of EVE Online. With the majority of players in New Eden choosing a side in the war, propaganda became more vital than ever, and the precise truth was becoming more and more difficult to ascertain, altered with flowery embellishments. In a blog post from October of 2007, blogger Nate Combs writes that, quote, "The propaganda machinery of the coalitions play a vital role in keeping players informed of the big picture. The little guys struggle one ship, one system, one corporation and alliance at a time, and read the cues and spin from the mouthpieces up high. Of this recent turn, Band of Brothers has fashioned a very slick propaganda video, spinning the retreat in heroic terms, in contrast to a more prosaic reality. Endy provides detailed analysis for the game world students of these things. Despite its production polish, one will note that its audience is crisply targeted. It makes little attempt to reach more broadly. The important takeaway for a general reader might be this. How would the foot soldiers in a large-scale, information-complex, distributed game spanning the real-world globe and 24 time zones have any clue how their system-by-system struggle fits into the big picture, were it not for, well, something like an EVE Online Alliance propaganda network?" End quote. For CCP Games, war meant fun for the players, and fun meant more subscribers, which meant more profits. And while EVE Online certainly had a larger audience than many other games, its subscribership was increased even further due to its mechanics, which offered its players the ability to easily practice a technique known as multi-boxing. While most who play massively multiplayer online games tend to only play one character.
I've been multi-boxing since 2008. I had at my time 5 EVE accounts, 5 of them. I used to make like $1 billion a month, no problem.
Compared to other games,
that was like in my first 3 months of EVE too.
Well suited to this method of play, since
my best friend can swear by it. He was there.
Such as firing weapons and movement would continue to run once activated and only required.
I'm gonna go get some Canada Dry real quick. I'll be right back.
Even if a particular character underperformed, it was almost always worthwhile to have multiple characters rather than only one in any situation. This gradually became vital for professions such as mining and industry, whose activities were much more passive than combat. Mining and related professions mostly entailed approaching a resource node, pressing a few buttons, and waiting until the node was mined out while watching for hostile ships. For these players, the most effective way to scale was simply to have more ships, which meant multi-boxing. And so, it was common for players to have multiple windows with the same game open, each window running a different character. Even if a person could have multiple characters on the same account, each account was limited to only one of its characters being used at a time, and so, multiple subscriptions would be necessary. This meant that some people, rather than only giving $15 a month to play, were instead giving many times more. Some of the most dedicated players would, and do, run over 10 characters simultaneously. Given the dedication of space game players and their relatively higher age bracket, the proportion of multi-boxers was likely much higher compared to other MMOs. What's more, word of the war was continuing to grow the player base, and CCP's business prospects were looking better than they ever had. While the precise player count is difficult to ascertain, the total numbers of subscribed accounts had, according to the company, surpassed 300,000. Rather than only pushing money back into the game, they began to build their company out, anticipating further success. While everyone involved with the production of EVE Online had believed in the potential of their project, it was still difficult for many of them to believe how successful their game had become. But the executives at the company wasted no time looking for ways to grow the IP, both to capitalize on the success of the game and grow the resilience of the franchise to compete with other MMOs. In 2004, World of Warcraft had been launched by Blizzard Entertainment, developers of numerous well-regarded games such as StarCraft, the Warcraft series, and the Diablo series, and much like their other titles, World of Warcraft, known as WoW in shorthand, was a massive success upon launch, and even as the years wore on, its subscriber count was only growing. There was some speculation about whether or not WoW would swallow the entire market. The foundation of these fears
It
is
did.
dubious. World of Warcraft and EVE Online occupied drastically different niches. WoW is what is now known as a theme park MMO, guiding the player through a series of set pieces in an expected sequential order and progression. EVE, in contrast, is known as a sandbox, granting the player a variety of tools